a pleasant situation. Absolutely true. Brenda said there are times when you cannot help a person who doesn't want to help themselves. Mm-hmm. Just as a quick pause, let's accept that bearing one another's burdens requires thoughtfulness and can be done because God commands it. Let's see if we can go to that next slide. Nope. Well, maybe. We can do it because God commands it. Even when you know a person well, thoughtfulness absolutely does not mean going up and saying to the person, "How in the world did you do such and such?" You know, with how skillful I am at tact, that's probably the way I'd begin it. You know, "Linda, why did you?" No, I wouldn't do that one. That may be, wouldn't be prudent. Instead, we must act out of love, shouldn't we? We have to love the person. We have to love their soul. We have to show thoughtfulness. To be of help, whose behavior must we manage first? We've got to take care of number one and make sure our behavior is acceptable, don't we? And somebody, let's see, it was Gerald, wherever Gerald is, I think said Sunday morning, we don't need to cause a burden on people either. Paul says in Romans, the 14th chapter, verses 13 to 19, we are not to put an obstacle or a stumbling block in a brother's way. As we said in Galatians 6, 1 and 2, it tells us that if the issue is spiritual, brethren, even if anyone is caught in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one looking to yourself, so that you too will not be tempted. Every soul is precious. If we see a brother or sister with a problem, we need to work to solve the problem. And if we don't have the skill set, we need to find the skill set that will do that. And yes. And when we're trying to bear someone's burden, slide 9. When we're trying to bear someone's burden, the solution may not come instantly. You're on slide 3. The solution may not come instantly. It may take time. One member in here said Sunday, I think it took several years for a person they were concerned about to finally respond and return to the church. It took continuing effort to get them there. Can't give up. We have to keep trying. There you go. Thank you. We're on slide 9. How about that? We have to be patient. All of us are different. The way I approach Mike and the way I approach Andy may be totally different. And each of us have different needs. We must be available and be willing to work with the person. It takes effort. If person A has an issue and I say something to them out of love and thoughtful and everything, One time may not be the only time I need to talk to them. It may take effort. We must be able to display love and humility as we work with the person. We have to show up and stay involved until there is a resolution. We can't just take for granted that, well, pretending for the moment, Linda, you got a problem, fix it, and we're done. That was pretend, by the way. So, and you all already know her main problem, don't you? It's behind the computer. Yeah, you got it. Uh, yes. Absolutely. We've got to take opportunities to meet one another, greet one another, learn about one another, don't we? In this Galatians 6 1 and 2, in thinking about our responsibilities and duties, uh, says, you who are spiritual, that should involve all of us, shouldn't it? And what's the key thing? Isn't it out of love that we want to be involved? How many times have we said that this class is about building love for one another? A new commandment I give you, that you love one another even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. Matthew 22, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Galatians 5, for the whole law is fulfilled in one word in the statement, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I think Sunday morning we began the class by saying that this 12 or 13 weeks is about building love for one another. And each of these classes has built on one another and tried to instill in us the things we need to understand in order to love one another. Now then, I have a question for you. And we've got several questions from this point forward. How can parents counteract the selfish culture and help teach bearing one another's burdens to their children using the example of Jesus? Now, granted, my youngest child is 41 and the oldest one is 45, so it's been a long time since Linda and I have had much to do with raising anybody's children except Jonathan and Erica's children, that is. But what can parents do to overcome this selfish culture that we live in? Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Give them a good example to follow and let them see you doing those things. Sarah. Absolutely. All right, let me put some on the screen and let's see what you'll say. What about explain what Jesus did for mankind and explain that everyone needs help sometimes? Gene.
He showed what being a true servant really was.
Absolutely. All right. I think this we said a moment ago by example. Sit with someone, pray with them, write a card to them. And you just mentioned, Stephanie, I think, involve the children in helping in a way that encourages another. Let them experience being helped. Yeah, connect the experience to Jesus. The song, He carried my sorrows, He bore my grief, was pierced for transgressions, afflicted for peace. Jesus did major things for us. What can we do for someone else? We've said over and over that there are responsibilities we each must carry. We need to help our children distinguish when a person between what a person should carry and when they really need help. That doesn't always come easy, does it? Any other thoughts on this one?
Larry, I think that Philip and Jean said this on Sunday, but I'll reiterate it. When we see a person in need, don't wait until if you ask them, "Do you need help?" They're going to say no, probably. Just go and do it anyway. Know that person well enough to know, hey, they need this, but they won't ask for it. It's kind of like, if you need me, I'll call you. They're never going to call you. So just go and do what you know to do that they need help.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That last point, I think Stephanie and Sarah both mentioned, teach them to notice others, a classmate sitting alone, one of their classmates that's just plain sad, someone having a problem at school. We can teach our children. What about this question? What does it mean that each one will bear his own load? Well, let's ask it this way. What happens if a person won't take any responsibility? It's hard to help them. And what are they going to be like in their personal lives when they refuse to take responsibility? They may shift blame to others. They may act on impulse. Do they learn from their mistakes if they won't accept responsibility? No. They don't know. Somebody.
I've known a situation in which an adult did not take responsibility in child rearing, and it had consequences on how the children turned out. Because
Yeah. Stephanie?
That's one thing that I really try to teach my preschoolers is to take responsibility in their actions. Because a lot of times parents do not make them take responsibility. And that's one thing that I really try to teach throughout the whole year is to take responsibility for your actions. And that's very important because when they get in the real world, that's how it's going to be.
Yep. Gerald?
It's like in life. I've made some maybe not so smart investments at times, and I've had to make some decisions, either figure my way out of it or go bankrupt. I didn't go bankrupt. I worked and figured my way out of it. And I think in life, when you get situations, I think sometimes people just go bankrupt and say, forget it, I'm giving up, I'm getting out of this. And that's not what we need to do. We need to lean on God and lean on each other and the burdens and work through it. What we're going to find is on the other side, we're going to be stronger. We're going to be more out to help other people. We're going to be able to do so much more if we just get in the trenches, fight through it, and have people help us through it. The same way with financial and business and all those other kinds of things. When we do that, we always come out in the end better off.
Good. Gene?
There is no going bankrupt when you're dealing with your children. You don't have that option to do that.
Yeah. Mike?
Keeping this thing in the context that it's written in verse 2, where it talks about lift that off of them, we're going to help them if we can. And as you go down in that verse, you get to verse 5 in that chapter, and it's each must bear your own burdens. Well, one of the burdens that we must bear, one of the obligations that the Lord puts on us, is to bear other people's burdens, you see. And so this is just one complete package in there in this chapter that is our responsibility that Christ puts upon us to help bear the burdens of people, the pain and the sorrow and anguish that they're undergoing, to help them is our responsibility in verse 5 to do that.
Good. Well said. There's a question. Well, I don't see it on the screen. At what age should we start teaching children to learn responsibility? And I think Stephanie said that she started at a very young age with the students in her class.
From day one.
Day one. Anybody else? All right. And then what happens if a person doesn't learn responsibility? We've talked about that. In Galatians 6:1, who's qualified to aid and encourage a sinner to be restored? What does Galatians 6:1 say? You're going in the right direction, especially if the person is spiritual. Yes. Restore such a one, and that shows that a Christian can fall. And, there's all kinds of beliefs in the world, but restoration shows that a person doesn't have to go back and redo all the first steps in order to be restored. And it says that we who are spiritual, ye which are spiritual, that demonstrates the power of influence, doesn't it? And that doesn't have a name associated with it. So many times in looking at these burdens, I keep saying in my mind, we can't attribute these responsibilities to three names, can we? And you know the three names: Brad, Todd, Mike. We can't attribute them. We got a lot of names in this room. That's where the responsibilities are lying. Ye which are spiritual can have influence. How would you present a spirit of gentleness as you talk to someone? Well, do I have any notes here? Brad?
Is, and you mentioned this before, is know the person. Down through the years, I've talked to lots of folks that were neck deep in sin.
Well, nobody's going to raise their hand, but I will.
But I've had that happen. And but the thing, at the end of the day, we have to realize, and the word I wrote down on my paper, the word I keep thinking, I keep looking at the word sympathy, and I keep looking at the word empathy. Two totally different things. Sympathy you can teach in a classroom. You can go over what that is. You can explain what that is. Empathy, you cannot do that. I don't think you're either. I think you're either born with empathy or you're not, or like I think it was Gerald that said, when you've gone through something, when it comes time when you're the one with skin cancer, then you have more empathy for the person who gets diagnosed with skin cancer. It allows you to see them differently. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. I mean, look out in the world around us. It's just hard when we talk about this Sunday. When all we're concerned about is me, me, me. I want what I want. I want it now, and I really want it faster than it's provided. And our whole society revolves around that. How can you order something on Amazon and you get it the same day? That shouldn't happen. Even though we like it, it shouldn't happen that way. But that's what conditioned us like that, and it makes it all about me. Another part of that too, and I'll be quiet after that. But another part of that too, when we're talking about our kids, and I was never good at this. I always wanted my kids to think I was a goat. That's the greatest of all time. That's what I wanted. I wanted them to think that. And what I failed at was, and when we had these conversations later in their lives, and they're looking at me saying, "Well, Dad, I never knew you how to deal with that." That makes me the failure because they thought, well, I wanted them to think I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and I'm not. When we look at this, another part, let me add another part. Another part of that is too, we have to point them, and we have to point each other. Let's be serious. I'm going to fail you. I'm going to fail you. I've told some of you in here that before many times. I'm going to fail you. But I know the one who ain't going to fail. And we got to keep that. We got to point our kids that way. I'm going to, Mom and Daddy's going to fail you. I really hate to be the bearer of that news, but that's the fact. We're going to fail each other. But God and His Son never will. Period. And the only way we do that is point them at the Word. They need to see us. They need to see us reading that Word. They need to see us pondering over that Word and putting those things into action. We can learn everything there is to know about Jesus. And we can know it frontwards, backwards, in 14 different languages. But if they don't see it in us and see us treating other people like He did, and one key part of that, I got to take myself out of the way. I got to get rid of me, start putting Him on. I'll be quiet.
Well, you can see on the screen some of the points I made. The one I regret in our house, rule 1, Daddy's always right. And rule 2, when Daddy's wrong, Daddy's always right. So, and I get reminded by James and Jonathan that that wasn't true.
Can I say something else?
Briefly.
Because I did this. My mother and daddy told, a lot of times when they told me to do something, the answer was, it wasn't always, but sometimes it was because I said something. And I said, I'll never, ever say that to my kids. Never.
And then you did.
Yes, but there's a reason for that. That's how you train a child. That's how we serve God. God tells us a lot of things through His Word. But sometimes there's things that, we just do them because He said to do them. Why? I can't understand. I'm not smart enough to understand why we do it. We do it because He said do it. That's how you train a child. So we're being derelict in our duty if
Let's continue. Next question. In moments of crisis and sorrow in your life, how did your brethren comfort you? I'm going to suggest that their personal comments, their personal counsel, their hands-on assistance and presence, and their prayers made a difference at my house. For a moment, don't even mention a name. In this congregation, is there a person bearing circumstances for which you could offer encouragement? As you think about that, how would you do it? I'm here for you. What can I do to help? I'm keeping you in my prayers. I'm available. I'm sorry. There's a lot of different phrases, but I think as Brenda may have said it, we got to back it up with action. And then here's where we were on Sunday morning. And would it help? I'm sorry about your circumstances. And would it help if I made calls, prepared a meal? Now, we heard about those meals Sunday morning, didn't we? Shopped, did an errand for you, mowed your yard, took you to the doctor. Actions speak louder than words sometimes, don't they? This may sound awful simple, but how do you view the announcements that we make? There's normally a scrolling list of something on the screen before, when we arrive and after services end. Do you pay any attention to that? What's on that list? Do you remember? Do you check that list? Do you compare it to the list that Mike places in the bulletin on Sundays? Do you add to that list that Mike places in the bulletin? There are ways and things that we can look at that will help us know who needs the attention. Now, I'm giving you some answers up there, but what ways have you used to encourage somebody other than those? Any? We're in the last 5 minutes of class, and I ran across some things that James did, and many of you have met him. And he put this in a sermon, best I understand. And as we talk about bearing one another's burdens, the questions that he asked in that sermon: can my brethren rely on me to pick up the phone or respond to a text, to offer encouragement and compassion, to help with physical needs, food, rides, fixing things? Personal checkup. How will you answer? Can the elders rely on James Larry to do my part as a member of this congregation, to attend and be invested in these Bible classes, to help with physical needs, food, rides, fixing things? How are you checking out so far? These are personal questions. I've got to answer you, and I'm suggesting you think about them. And then, can God rely on me to go to the lost, to look for opportunities among co-workers, family, friends, members, brothers and sisters here, to embrace every opportunity to talk to people about Jesus? How you doing in your personal checkup? I know I got weaknesses so far. What else? God needs reliable Christians He can send. Now, we've been talking about burdens. This is lesson, 9 out of 12? We've had a lot of things that we've talked about. What changes can we make ourselves? Where can we push ourselves out of our comfort zone? There are some people in here that can go bear hunting with walking sticks. There's others of us that are more timid, aren't we? What do we need to do? Opportunities. How often is an opportunity going to hit you in the face? Can you tell me the next time it's coming? I can't. So, how will you answer that next opportunity to teach Christ, to explain where you go to church, why you worship the way you do, why you believe what you do? How will you deal with that next opportunity? I've got Isaiah 6:8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send and who will go for us? Then he said, will each of us say this? Here am I, send me. There's a song we sing here that I spend more than a half an hour on treadmill every morning reading hymn lyrics. And this is one that it's hard for me to get past. Until then is the song, and I'm only going to read certain words. My heart can sing when I pause to remember a heartache here is but a stepping stone. That heartache is a burden for the purpose of this class. Things of earth that cause the heart to tremble, remembered there in heaven, will only bring a smile. This weary world with all its toil and struggle may take its toll of misery and strife. Nothing easy about this world, is it? But until then, my heart will go on singing. Until then, with joy I'll carry on. Until the day my eyes behold the city. Until the day God calls me home. The burdens we have are never pleasant. Many of us know some of the burdens that others are bearing. We're neighbors. We're family. We can help one another. Consider somebody that had a lot of burdens, and that was the Apostle Paul. Acts 20, I do not consider my life of any account as dear to myself, so that I may finish my course in the ministry which I received from the Lord Jesus to testify solemnly of the gospel of the grace of God. He was focused on what his goal was. Romans 8:18, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time, the burdens of this present time, are not worthy to be compared with the glory that's to be revealed to us. And 2 Timothy 4:7, I fought the good fight. I finished the course. I've kept the faith. May that be how we each pray. May that be how we each live. Any comments? Class, yes, sir. Go ahead. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for being in the class and participating tonight. Right there.